It's a purely future Brian episode of The Vault here. My name is Brian Saviano, future Brian O'Brien, coming at you because today, the lovely storage room that you see before you is no longer going to be. And the reason it's no longer going to be is because of just how much I don't like the way it looks. It is not sustainable to have the storage room in the state that it's in. It does not have enough room. And such, I will be renovating this entire thing before your very eyes. And this is going to be the vibe that the entire vault-ish area is going to have to it. So I'm going to renovate it and make it look slick and shiny and polished. And you're going to be here alongside the entire way. So thank you so much for tuning in, and doing all the things with me as always. Hopefully you are having the best of times you possibly can on your Minecrafting adventures, whatever that might be. I have done so much Minecraft videos, so many things that I've done, man. My hard drive keeps running out of room because of how much Minecraft I've recorded, and that doesn't happen very often. So I've needed to go through and actually commentate these and just play more. So I'm very excited. I'm fired up about this series, and I hope that you are too, given everything going on. So this storage room is going to look slick. And the vibe that I wanted to go for it is industrial, but still polished overall. It's going to involve a lot of blackstone, a lot of stone and whatnot. Here, we're kicking it into high gear here. But it's a lot of repetitive tasks. So there's not going to be a whole bunch of interesting things that I do, but I still wanted to commentate this and show you the process, explain my thought process a little bit more, especially since I had first started explaining what I was going to do a while ago, like a really, really long time ago. I think if you remember from before, I mentioned that I wanted to do a multi-layered storage room to make it look really look like a vault. Now, I opted to not go with a automated storage system because an automated storage system, honestly, for someone at my scale, for just me, it's not entirely worth it. And to be totally honest with you, the amount of time and energy and effort that it would take to make that happen, it's just not worth it. Even on the Bob SMP, like as cool as the project was to make it all happen and have the proper room for it, and the redstone was incredibly impressive. Brandino did a fantastic job at doing that, but it just didn't end up being as useful for like the 4 or 5 of us, you know? If there were gonna be, 20 people on there, sure, but like, by the point that we reached in the server, we had done almost all the things that we wanted to do. We had not much like left in terms of farms and whatnot. So it was really more so about the project itself and just completing it, and less so about the functionality of it. So instead of making something automated, I'm just making something that looks super slick and polished, and I can't wait for you to see these final results. There's actually no portion of this from this point on that's going to be at the same speed as before. So I'll show you the completed room in the next episode. So you're going to have to look forward to that. But don't just go to the next episode and be like, oh, this episode's not... There's nothing here because he's just going to mine blocks for 40 minutes. Well, yes, I'm going to mine blocks for 40 minutes, but I'm going to talk about life, whatever else I got going on. All right? These videos are not just about the Minecraft gameplay. You want to go watch Minecraft, you go play it yourself, okay? You watch these videos because you're so enthralled with the incredible life lessons that I have, with all the incredible things I have to say, because everything I say is just so funny and so enrapturing. Aren't you so enthralled? You should be. Anyways, no. I mean, it's fine. It's all good. I'm like yelling at you. I'm like, you think I'm funny? What am I, like a clown? Funny ha-ha? Funny hoo-hoo hee-ha? Meow meow? Anyways, that's not relevant. So, what's been going on in life, in my things that I have going on, man? It's been all about this book that I've been writing, or have written, actually. That's all that's completed. But I have to do a whole bunch of things supplementary to it. It's called Pro Gamer's Guide to Healthy Habits, in case you hadn't heard it anywhere else and are living under a rock. I've been talking about it everywhere across the multiverse, and it's something that I'm incredibly proud of, and I need to fulfill all sorts of things as part of this initiative that I did, where I'm like, hey, people, if you want to get an early copy, there you go. And that ended up being a thing. So now I got to fulfill all those things. I have to get more. Actually, I got to order even more stickers. I ordered a bunch of stickers for people who had supported the project, and I got to order more. I got to order even more prints and whatnot. So Actually, I didn't even start the process of ordering the prints. I should probably get around to doing that at some point, but man, doing all this cool stuff, it costs a lot of money, you know? But, you know, that's kind of how it goes, you know, in order to make some cool things happen. Sometimes it's what it takes, you know? It's not just a matter of making the thing happen. You got to have the finances to make your dreams come true, you know? And making a children's book and having all the supplementary things that go along with it, it is not an easy task by any measure whatsoever. But luckily, with the amount that people have supported the project and believe in what I'm doing, I'm able to do all these things and provide all the perks that I possibly can. So I'm very excited about that. You kind of see here real quick, just in relation to the storage room, you're kind of seeing the vibe that I'm going with here. And it's basically made to have all sorts of chests available. And the labeling of them, I actually still haven't even done. As Future Brian, I haven't done that. But the thing that I wanted to focus on with this storage room is optimizing it so no torches needed to be out in any capacity. I wanted this thing lit, as the kids would say. I wanted it lit from head to tippy toe without having any torches anywhere. Obviously, I'm placing them down on the ground there, but that's just temporary. So the glowstone up at the very edge right there, that was basically inspired by me wanting to replicate, you know, sometimes you see in home theaters and man caves and entertainment rooms in general, you see like the lighting that goes across the ceiling, like it's like a strip basically. Maybe you have it in your house. I don't have it. I kind of have it here in the office. It's like icicles. It's icicle lights instead of a strip. But basically that's the vibe that I wanted to give. So if in the event I decide to do this sort of theme all throughout the vault eventually, right? That's kind of what I want to do. I want to make it so that lighting is everywhere, so no torches are going to be out. But as I'm going through the vault, I'm like, okay, everything's underground, the main structures and, you know, everything that I want is underground. But I also want to make it so it feels homey. So I don't want to have just narrow corridors, even though that's what happens basically in Fallout. It's all narrow corridors and rooms that you explore, and less so about a big giant open cave area. I mean, sometimes that happens, but not all the time, so whatever. But I want to do that. I want to make it feel homey, not just entirely industrial. So a little bit contradictory to having what the vault or what the vault actually is, you know? So this process here, I'm going all throughout the Nether, trying to find some glowstone. It's a little bit problematic by not using any Elytra, which I eventually do use because it's basically necessary to make that happen. I got to fly into little crevices and mine out all the glowstone, which luckily with the Fortune 2 pickaxe that I have, going after the glowstone, I actually get 4 bits of glowstone dust every time that I mine out one of those. Or I could have just used Silk Touch if I really wanted to, but it didn't really matter because, like I said, the Fortune 2 pickaxe worked out pretty well. So there is a way to get a glowstone farm. Am I ever going to do that? Probably not. It's pretty effective, just flying around everywhere and finding little bits of glowstone. Turns out I don't need that much as it is right here, but you can kind of see the vibe that I'm going for, you know? So not only am I making these interesting stairs to kind of convey that strip lighting feel a little bit, but there's also this cobbled deep slate, which, you know, you would think the cobbled deep slate makes it look especially dark, and I mean it kind of does to an extent, but you'll see what accents I use eventually to make it so it's not entirely dark inside the vault, you know? Because I don't want it to be like super dark and dingy. You know, dingy is definitely not the vibe. It is supposed to be lively, but it's supposed to be sleek as well. So the wall that you see closest to where the entrance is, I actually keep that the way it is over there. I don't swap it out because I want it to have some semblance of it being still in a cave. And that is where I can actually view the direction of, like, you know, this is where you exit. But there's no windows. No windows in this area. There's not any need to have any windows anywhere. It's supposed to be an industrial storage area, and that's the vibe that I'm going to go for. Spoiler alert for anybody who's tuning in and watching this. You're like, wait, you know, Brian, you're doing all this stuff, and it's super cool, but, like, is it off-centered a little bit? And on the, like, when you first enter the room, the right side is not the same length as the other side. So that's pretty interesting. I fix that eventually. But basically what I'm doing right here is I'm trying to figure out what ways can I implement the glowstone while it's still able to be radiating light, because I'm just trying to figure out how to orient the stairs. And then I realized underneath the chests would be a good way to basically make the glowstone still be a thing, but I don't want it painfully obvious, right? I don't want chunks of glowstone behind certain areas and whatnot. And because there's plenty of room right underneath the chest right there, it radiates so much light and you don't notice it, right? And it still lights everything up super nicely. So little tricks like that basically make it so it looks presentable, it looks engaging, but it's not overbearing, you know? And the whole process of organizing all these chests, man, it took 7,000 years to do this as well. So that's a whole other thing for me to do. As I'm going through here, I'm also obviously seeing all the different bits of copper and all that. I just harvest all of it. You know, at this point, I did model out, spoiler alert, for a future episode that I haven't even recorded yet. But I ended up scoping out what it would take to make a BricksOBrian model statue out of copper, and it's a lot of copper. It's actually a lot more than I already have right now, so I got to get a whole lot more. I think right around here is where I realized that it's not the same length on each side. It's supposed to be one little bit longer. It happens once I place down these blocks here, which shout out to this texture pack, making almost every single block look feasible and usable. Like the polished deep slate tiles here, these things for the middle portion, they look great. I think they look excellent. So something I haven't done is actually taken off the texture pack and put the vanilla textures on there just to see what it looks like. I haven't done that, and I kind of low-key don't want to do that. That's where I notice that it's off right there. See? I'm like, wait a second. This is off. But anyways, I haven't done that yet. Kind of afraid too, because I know that diorite farming area is going to look absolutely abysmal, but that's for, you know, another time, basically. But yeah, I want to have a similar vibe for this entire vault. So whatever. So other than that, what have I been doing in life, in love and the pursuit of happiness? It's 42 degrees outside. It was 65 earlier, and my goodness, I was so excited for the summertime. Spoiler alert for everybody listening, watching, and tuning in. I want to make a big deal out of this summer. I've said this a bunch of times. I try to maintain the positivity as much as I can, dedicate energy into worthwhile projects and collaborate with awesome people and all that, right? And this summer, especially after the past couple of years that we've had, this summer, to me, I feel like is going to feel even more so able-bodied enough for us to go out and do stuff, you know? Go out and have activities and really celebrate the fact that summer is here. I want to make a big deal out of it. There's incredible game releases happening. There's, Nintendo Direct is going to be happening in June. It's going to be hopefully a lot of positive stuff happening in life and in the world, you know? That's what you have to do. And I mean, especially now that the book is also going to be on the docket, and that's going to be releasing, this summer. Hopefully that's the plan, provided things don't go haywire, but we shall see. Having all that, it's setting itself up to be a very positive summer. So I hope that whatever you're doing, you can try to plan for something in some capacity that is a very fun thing for you to do this summertime, whether it's going on a vacation, going out and hanging out with friends, making more of an effort to make coordinated events happen, which is also, that's a big thing with me personally. I definitely, for as incredibly perfect as I am, I don't do a great job of trying to get people together and make plans and commit to things because everybody's so busy and doing stuff. So I need to do better at that. And I encourage everybody to do better at that as well, because your friends are here. They're in your life, your family, everything else, right? You want to make sure you stay in touch with them and make awesome memories happen. It doesn't even need to be crazy things, man. But doing a barbecue, going out to the beach for a day, going on a hike, or I don't know, whatever you want to do. Well, go for a hike. Yeah, that's great. Great life advice there. Whatever you want to make happen, just make it happen. Basically, is the gist of the conversation. The conversation I'm having with myself, I should say. But over here, I'm basically replanting the trees, cutting them all down because I got to make a whole bunch of chests everywhere. Maybe that's something I should do in the future too, for the sake of having it, is an underground tree farm. You know I can access the surface, right? But basically, I should probably orchestrate the entirety of the underground so that I can have sustainable, not sustainable income. I mean, sustainable income is great. You got to survive, right? But having a system where trees can be grown entirely underground, I think would be excellent. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. Maybe in a future episode, be another Speedy Gonzalez one, you know, be where I just go through and do whatever. I had a little bit of trouble trying to figure out where exactly the crafting tables and the ovens were going to go, the furnace rather. But I think putting them in the center makes it a little bit more unique, you know, have it floating there, whatever, you know, it's totally fine. I didn't want to have them stuck inside the wall. I still wanted them to kind of pop out like the other chests do. So that's fine. But yeah, I guess I took a little bit of a break there. You get a nice little non-speed up shot of what the vault is looking like over here, the storage room. It's coming along really nicely, man. It's looking really good. Also, important part of the creation process, and this is something that I feel like people don't talk about, not just Bruno, but the fact that you can't just keep creating stuff constantly, you know? Like I tried to keep pushing forward with this storage area right here and trying to nail down the creative layout for like the stone and the deep slate and the whatever. You can't make it so it's very well done in the first try, is what I want to say. Like, you're gonna have your situation where you're just mentally fried, you can't think creatively, you don't know anything you could possibly do, but having a little bit of a break can do you so much more good than if you just continuously work through the project, you know? You have this like, I don't know what you want to call it, like a ticker in your brain, and the ticker keeps going and going and going and going, and you basically are on a timer until your creative energy is basically depleted, at least for a couple hours of the night or whatever. So putting yourself in a position where you can keep yourself creatively fueled and be in a good headspace to do that stuff, it's super important. And not saying that, you know, making a storage unit in Fallout, in Minecraft, is a very difficult thing. It's totally not, but it's better to take that little bit of a break, recollect yourself, and then you tackle the project, whatever it is you're doing for school, for work, or for otherwise, with a fresh, clear head and a good mentality about it, you know? And I notice that when I take a nap. I've said this 10 billion times on my videos, literally billions and billions and billions of times, a tremendous amount of times, that the amount of sleep that you get is so overwhelmingly important. You know, I don't even realize it sometimes, but I'll be doing my thing and I'm like, man, how much sleep did I get? Why do I feel so tired? I'm like, oh, I got like 4 hours of sleep last night. Whoops, that's why my head feels like cement, you know? You can't have that happen. You gotta drink that water. You gotta have your head not feel like cement. That's basically the 2022 vibe that you gotta nip in the butt, is your head feeling like cement. Not that my head doesn't feel that way right now, because I had some coffee. I feel fairly energized, you know. Also, the thing that you may have noticed around here, regarding the farm, I did some tweaking. I don't know if you noticed it, but the shroom lights were not optimally placed. So there's some portions over there, if you take out all those torches that are there, right? Some of those spots over at where the farm is, they don't actually allow you to plant anything because the light level isn't high enough. So I have to put more shroom lights over there and harvest them out of the nether. And basically, I just need to have a full stack at all given times. So anyways, my editing software was being like, hey, everything's falling apart. And I'm like, wait, no, it's not. Anyways, so if you made it this far in the video, this is a thing that I've wanted to talk about for a little while. And I've vocalized it, but I haven't talked about it, I guess, a ton in detail. I'm talking with my management. Oh, the management. I'm talking with them. And with one of the other creators they've worked with, they've done a plushie based off of a World of Warcraft character that the person plays as all the time. And that brings me into something like I've always wanted to do, a BricksOBrian plush so badly over these years. Like, there's all these plushies of all these Pokemon, and there's Lego things, and you know, everybody who grows up has a plushie thing of some kind, you know, and some people still have a lot of those today. I mean, I have some in my background here. I have a giant penguin named, I believe that's not Cuddles. I don't know what the name of the penguin is, actually. There's also Giratina. I also have an Empoleon, a giant Piplup. So plushes are always something that's always stuck with me, and I know a lot of people really like them. It's just that making them is such a massive pain in the butt, man. It takes so much money, and it takes so many of them to get them made. It's actually, it's kind of gross. In case anybody has been like, hey, you know, Brian, why haven't you done like a BricksOBrian plush? It's like, it's not that I don't think people would like it or buy it or whatever. I think people would totally buy it if it was super cool, but it's because there's a minimum order quantity for something like that, and you got to order that many in order to get it started. So typically, in case you're ever curious, like all these plushes that get made, right, that exist, Pokemon website, whatever website, right, all these exist, and you have to order a minimum amount from all the different manufacturers that make these all across the globe. So they could be located in the United States, in China, Brazil, Mexico, wherever. It just really depends. They all have different costs that go along with them. And, you know, you might pay $20 for a plush or something, but it might cost somebody $10 to make the thing from the very beginning. That's normally every single thing that you ever buy. You know, you buy a computer for $1,000. It doesn't actually take $1,000 to make them, but it costs, you know, maybe a couple $100, and you pay a premium to just buy one of them because the manufacturer has to make thousands or hundreds of thousands of them. So there's all these different stipulations that go along with it. And so that's how it works, right? So in order for costs to be covered and stuff, you got to obviously get a whole bunch of them at one time. And when you're booting up all those machines and doing all that design work, it can't just be, you know, for 20 plushes. It has to be for minimum quantity for a plush is 1,000. So I'd have to sell or justify producing 1,000 BricksOBrian plushies to then sell, I don't know where, but I would sell them, right? That's the idea. And I don't have that. I don't have any ideas of how that I pull that off. Nothing. That is not a thing that is available, but it's always something that I've wanted to do, and I've never had a chance to do it because as passionate as the BricksOBrian fan base is and how far it stretches across the globe and all that, I just don't think there's enough people who would buy them to justify paying the price that it would be for them. So entirely different from what I was just talking about before with, like, you know, the storage room and all that. But that's why I watch these videos, to talk about things that are not basically talked about and, you know, whatever. So I've always wanted to do that, and it would probably be like an 8-inch plush of BricksOBrian. And maybe there would be a hood element where the hood would basically come off, or rather, the sweatshirt could come off, and then there'd be a shirt underneath it that had different printing, like stuff like that, you know? But all those little things cost so much to produce, and you have to order so many of them. So with the book now being a thing, I would also want to get plushies of Polly and Cecilia, the cat and the bird characters that are from Pro Gamer's Guide to Healthy Habits, and then in the comic and everything else as well. So then doing that would cost even more money. And it's like, man, this is a lot of, like, I'm talking thousands of dollars, right? So let's say you order 1,000 plushes of one particular thing, right? Which is the absolute bare minimum for a plush that you can order, right? It would cost you, I'm 100% serious when I say this too, it would cost you $10,000 to make 1,000 plushies, which, full stop, is a whole lot of money. That is a lot of cash, right? And like, next time you're buying a plush from wherever, think about that. There's some company or some person out there that had to front at least $10,000 to make the thing happen. And the thing that happens with bulk ordering stuff like 1,000 plushies, you get a discount the more that you order. So let's say you order 2,000. Well, instead of it costing $10 per plush, it might cost $8. So although it costs $8, you're not saving any money because you're spending money to order 2,000 plushies, which would be, what, $16,000? So it's a little bit cheaper, that you know what I mean? So it's that sort of a thing. And it's never been justifiable for me because it's just not a good use of that money. Like, could I pull the rabbit out of the hat? I mean, no, but like, it's just not a justified thing for me to do. So I've never I've never been able to pull it off. But the good folks of the management are like, hey, you want to do this thing? And I'm like, I could, but like, it's not gonna work. I don't think it would. I honestly don't think it would. But that's just me, basically. I know people are very passionate about my videos and what I do, but I don't think that much, right? Not. And the other thing is, it has to cost, you know, not a whole boatload of money, because that's the other issue with a lot of plushies is some people charge like $30 or $40 for a plush, which is kind of ridiculous. That's a lot of money for a plush thing, you know, especially if it doesn't have any features or I don't know, anything special about the functionality of it or something. That's just a lot of money for families and for anybody. $30 for one plush? Are you kidding me? I don't care how limited edition, exclusive, whatever the thing is. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is that it's super expensive. So I don't want the plush to be that costly. So it'd have to be somewhere like $20, $25, whatever. And then it's just so much logistical stuff. It's basically just me venting about how I want to do a BricksOBrian plush or Polly and Cecilia, but it's just not practical for me to do so. And in case you've ever thought about that, in case you're thinking about, like, you know, all the plushes you have in your room, you're basically sitting, lying in bed with like tens of thousands of dollars worth of corporate money being funneled into this thing. And the other thing that happens is a lot of these content creators, they end up having the plushies and then they end up going on sale because not enough people buy them. And it's like, man, that's disappointing, you know? Unless my plushies were going to be in like a retail store or whatever, you know, I don't think I could possibly justify it. I could eat my words and it could totally be pulled off. I'd have no idea. But that is something that I guess could be looked out for eventually. Again, I have no intentions of doing that anytime soon, especially with the book just happening and how supportive everybody has been on that. Definitely don't want to take that for granted or be like, hey, now I got this plush. You want to spend $100 on plushies? Some Bob plushies? No? Oh, okay. It's like, yeah, not gonna do that. So you gotta wait a little while, you know? I want to make sure that I get the book delivered to people who want to buy their copy of Pro Gamer's Guide to Healthy Habits and everything else. And then from that point on, we'll see what happens after it. But back to a little bit of Minecrafting here. You know, I have all basically the storage area is completed for the most part. There's a lot of great lighting in here. I was experimenting with the iron trap doors and I'm like, you know what? That's super expensive and it doesn't look that good. So I think I veto against that, but I do some sort of pattern here basically to justify having some glowstone up on there. I thought it was a little bit dim. So that's a nice way for me to have some sort of lighting without it coming a little bit, you know, popping out and being a bit overwhelming there. So it worked out really nicely. I hope you've enjoyed this video. You know, it's a little bit different from everything else that I've done with the speedrunning stuff, not speedrunning, but with the stuff, because it's less so me talking through the process, just talk about whatever. That's what I normally do. That's what I feel like most people watch my videos for. It's less so about the stuff, or rather the actual thing I'm doing, but the thing that I talk about while I do the thing. So anyways, that's basically all I got for you. I'm putting some more glowstone up into here, making this look nice, bright, and beautiful. Actually, just kidding, I'm not. I'm just putting more stairs there. And then that's it. I'm going to polish up this storage room, and I'll see you again next time for more Minecraft Underground in the vault. And until next time, keep on staying spicy, meowing it out, and keeping your head above the clouds, all right? Stay cool. Meow, meow.